All right, everyone. Thanks for jumping on today. Got head coach Ben Olsen for you. Ben, just your thoughts on this matchup at Portland, last one before the June international break here.
Uh, yeah, it's been a long week, but it's a long week for them as well, and so go the whole way out west is a great challenge for us. Overall, health is good. Some bumps and bruises, but we'll figure out what the best look is to try to go get something in a great place. So, again, always one of the great places to play in this country.
All right, we'll start with Dustin. Dustin, go ahead.
Hey Ben. Hey, we saw Brooklyn get some minutes the other day in the game. Looks like he's maybe is ahead of Jan or Jefferson or some guys. How's Brooklyn's development coming this year?
Uh, y- you know, I think he's certainly ahead of last year, in that the performances that he's had with D2 have been really good, and that wasn't always the case last year. So there's development there. Now it's getting how can he find his way onto the field and get significant minutes for the first team, and that's kind of the challenge that he has, and then we have to continue to try to develop him. It's certainly on us, but it's on him as usual with young players. Uh, and the other day helps. He comes in, and I thought he helped settle the game down. Good energy. You take it with a grain of salt. It was a game where it was pretty slow, and the game state was, I thought, really fit him. But he came on and did exactly what he needed to do. So that helps for him. It helps us to move forward.
And then just Sebastian getting a goal. I know he had a long streak of not scoring, but you've been playing him in that false nine. How important was it for him to get a goal and kind of get that confidence?
The goals were all interesting in that the first one is really the one that brought a tear to my eye because getting the way we place, we continue to drive home, even though you're not an old school nine. You still got to get across the face, and you still got to occupy defenders. And so if it's whether it's Amin, whether it's Sebastian, and they both were there, and a ball right across the six for a dunk, as we say. We don't get a lot of those, and especially when you play with a lot of numbers in the middle. So it was great. That was great. And then we get a set piece. I count that as a second phase on a set piece with Latif. Big goal for him. He's a guy that's now hitting the net, which is helping. And then yeah, it's always good to have your nine, 9.5, however you want to whatever you want to call Kowalczyk, to get on the board again, and to outside the box. That's kind of been where he's been most effective as far as scoring goals. We'd like for him to still get more goals and in and around the box, and he puts himself in good situations. He's been close a bunch of times, so we'll just keep on grinding. But I'm happy for all those guys. I'm happy for the win. It goes a long way in a week like this, and now we try to get something out of again, tough place to go.
Thanks,
All
Ben.
right, Joey, go ahead.
Hey Ben, we saw Franco Escobar get another start. It's the first time in a month. What were your thoughts on his 45 minutes he got, and how is his fitness?
It's okay, and he played okay. It's always nice to get Franco back on the field. He's a winner, and he brings personality to the team. So now it's just a matter of where there's been some players that are playing pretty well in that spot as well, whether it's Daniel and Griff on the other side. So our depth in the back is pretty solid, but he is a guy that's different, and he brings a certain level of um, you know like a positive volatility to us, and I like players like that, and I think more times than not they're up for the battle. So we'll just keep pushing his fitness and see where he fits in this.
And Andrew Tarbell's played pretty well in both these games, extremely well in this last game. How much does that affect how quickly he'll rush back Steve Clark from the nose injury?
We rush everybody back, because then all the worst that can happen is the coach gets some sleepless nights on who to play because we have a lot of options. But Steve's our starter. Steve's done a great job here. But we also view Andrew Tarbell as a starter in this league, and we just have that luxury. So Andrew's been great. Big game the other day, a lot of saves. A lot of saves that and he's going to make, and one or two that really kept us in the game, and that's what you ask. He took on a lot of shots, but really, I mean, a double save was impressive, and he took some heavy fire at times, but he's secure, able to handle the ball, and they're different types of goalkeepers in some ways, but both are very, very effective in the league.
Thank you so much, Ben. Best of luck.
All right, Herman, go ahead.
Hey Ben, good to have you back. Just wanted your thoughts on three, you mentioned it, it's a long week, 3 matches in a 7-day span. Does having the 2-week break after this match let you be more aggressive with the rotations, or just talk about the art of that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, if we had a Wednesday after this, would it change my thoughts on it? Yeah, maybe a little bit. So these are all kind of little puzzles. When you get into these games, these back-to-back to backers, particularly on the short end, it's who can go 90, who can play 60. What are the anticipation of the game? What is it going to look like? Do we need these people on the bench? Who are we playing? What's the opponent's strengths? There's so many things. You can go down a rabbit hole forever on trying to have this crystal ball on what the game's going to look like, and who can go 60, who can go 70. So it gets fairly complex, and you more times not you give it you put the team out there that you think you can get a result with, and sometimes you have to kind of look into the future and make some tough decisions where you would want to start guys that maybe would suit you better with 20, 30 minutes left in the game. But everyone wants to be on the field, and that's a good thing. They do understand there's a break after this, and so all our focus is to get something out of this game.
Speaking of this game, Portland, busy week for them as well. They've gotten 6 points the past 2 matches. Just speak on the challenge that's up ahead for your team tomorrow night.
Well, they're in really good form, and they were in good form early, and so they kind of took a little bit of a wave, and they're coming out of that. So belief will be high for them, and along with because of the results, but also because they're back at home and feeling feeling that home crowd. So, but they're leggy too. They just played an Austin team in Austin, and it's a little bit of a long trip for them. It's a long trip for us. So we'll see. I don't know. We know who they are. We know what their strengths are, and we know that there's some vulnerabilities there too that hopefully we can take advantage of. But they're saying the same thing. It'll be an interesting game.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
All right, Rudy, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I just mentioned about, I guess, Ibrahim Ali a little bit. Some guys that, or a guy that maybe has been questioned about his lack of score in the season. He's looked very confident, in every match, but just
You're cutting in and out a bit, Rudy. Was it about Ali Ibrahim's form?
Yeah, I'll answer it. I guess it was a general question about Ibrahim, and he's been great. He's got how many? He's got 4 goals. So he is, and then how many? 2 assists. So at this point, that's a pretty good production level. Could he have more? Of course, he could have more. So could Bassi and Kowalczyk and Griffin. Everybody can. And but he's got 4 goals and 2 assists, and he's a real handful. He's a threat behind. He gives us a really great shift every time on the defensive end as well, which is rare for a guy that really is always pressing and trying to get in behind. So no problems with Ibra. Yeah, could he get 3 more goals? Yeah, of course. Show me someone in the league it's an attacking spot that wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, he could have 3 more goals." So this is just what it is, and we'll continue to kind of have him out there because he's a big part of what we're doing. And yeah, I'm assuming that answered your question. And yeah,
All right, we'll jump over to Jorge.
Hey, coach.
right.
Hey, just wanted to ask you about Hector on his fitness level. Does another 90. How is his progress going?
Good. The fact that, he was a guy last year that played quite a bit for us. Um, he seems to be able to recover pretty quickly. So each week we just find out more about where he's at physically, and all we can do is look at him, have honest conversations with him, have honest conversations with the sports science department, and we make a decision and we roll, and then we learn from that. So that's kind of how we go about this. But again, we got a good medical staff, then they won't put him in jeopardy. And I kind of make a lot of decisions based on what they bring to the table. Conservative, but also, he's a guy that wants to play all the time, and so it's a tricky balance, but it's one that I think he's rounding into form. The fitness, his ability to get through to 90 minutes, that bodes well for where he's at right now. And I think at times he's playing more intelligent and maybe managing himself through these games, which is also a sign of kind of his experience.
Lastly, we know that these games are coming up quickly. I know you're a game by game kind of guy, but how do you maintain your squad ahead of Leagues Cup?
Leagues Cup. Yeah, I don't. I got one game in front of me, brother. It's all I can process right now. Leagues Cup. I haven't thought 1 second about Leagues Cup. Uh, it's so I don't know how to answer that one. We got 2 weeks. We got a little break here, and then when the Leagues Cup comes around, we'll start to dial in on that. But we got a lot of games before that.
All right, Herman, follow up for you.
I do. We spoke to Juan Guerra after the game Wednesday night, and he spoke very highly of you, Ben. Just wanted your thoughts on his performance.
What's he gonna say? You think he's gonna bash the head coach?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be very smart, would it?
So your thoughts on his performance and how he stepped in for you and the team Wednesday night, man.
It's great. It's always nice to have guys kind of, I it's never fun sitting up there, but big deal. I got a good staff. I always surround myself with good people that are capable. My assistant coaches are always capable of being head coaches. It's part of kind of the recruitment process. They have to be. They have a lot of responsibility here as kind of quote unquote second in charge. And that's kind of part of the personality trait that I like when for assistant coach. But I know Juan gets a lot of credit. It goes down the pecking order. But again, Dean is right next to him. Aurelian's right next to him. Calf's right next to him. This is a collective, and that's how I go about things. We're all in this together. We all complement each other in the right way. So this is. I was super, super proud of him, but I'm also super proud of the entire staff, the way they handled the game. And but it wasn't a surprise in the end.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Wrap it up.